Let's get this going. Let's go. Today we are going to build a cold email campaign from scratch. So I'm going to show you from the top down, building out the campaign strategy, building the list, writing the copy. We're going to create a fake company for this, but essentially just want to give you a high level overview of the different steps you need to take to build a successful cold email campaign and start generating leads. We are not going to get super into the weeds as far as deliverability, setting up inboxes, setting up campaigns and all that stuff, but really just want to make sure you have the 80-20 of kind of what this looks like and the steps you can take. If at the end you find you do want more details, just reach out to me separately and I can send you a playbook with the actual step-by-step details on things like setting up inboxes, buying domains, setting up the structure in Smart Lead or whatever email software you use. But without further ado, let's dive in. So we're going to build a cold email campaign from scratch. First thing we need to do to build a cold email campaign is to have a company, right? So we're going to make a pretend company. This is going to be for me. So, we'll call this company, we want to I'll probably do something in consulting because, there's a lot of solo founder consultants who might be interested in setting up cold email campaigns to grow their business. I've run campaigns for consultants, so I know kind of what works well. And let's stick in that niche. So we'll do AG Consulting Company. Bam. That's our new company. The Andrew Garner Consulting Company. And we need a niche. What kind of consultants are we? There's e-commerce consultants. There's brand consultants. We want to be as niche as possible for this to really pop. So just picking one, we can do growth consulting for early stage CPGs. Okay, so this will allow us to be super targeted in our list building and our messaging. We found that consultants who are able to hone in, even if they do serve other clients, but clients who have case studies and are able to hone in on a specific industry and niche, tend to perform the best in cold email. So we will do growth consulting for early stage CPGs. So AG Consulting Company helps early stage CPG firms drive growth through go-to-market execution, paid and organic strategies, and retail and wholesale expansion. Bam, that's what we do. AG Consulting Company helps early-stage CPG firms drive growth through go-to-market execution, paid and organic strategies, and retail and wholesale expansion. So basically, we run the gamut on growth. Anything you need, we can help you with. And so ideally, we have case studies for all these different things that we can rely on. If not, there's different ways we can still generate responses, but that's kind of how we're going to approach this. So we have our company, we have our niche, we have a kind of high level overview of the services we provide and how we get there. So now we'll build out the campaign strategy. So we need to craft a strategy here to understand who we're going to reach out to, why we're reaching out to them, what our messaging is going to be, and just making sure that everything's solid so we're not just spraying and praying, hoping that we can catch a bite. So thinking about kind of at the high level, there's two different types of lists or campaigns that we can build. There are the evergreen campaigns where you can be pretty broad, run very large volume, and test a ton of different angles in your messaging, in your subject lines, in your offer, with your case studies. It's endless what you can test. And then there are more signal-based or sniper campaigns where you get super targeted. You might target early-stage CPG founders who just raised a round within the last 3 months, or early-stage CPG founders who have an open role for a director of sales. You can relay that in your messaging. There's some signal in their business that tells you that it might be a good time to hire someone like you. And so those are the two types of campaigns. Ideally, we want to run both of those when we work with a client. But, for purposes of this, we'll just pick one and continue to move forward. So with that in mind, we can start to look at some different campaigns we want to run. So one would be companies These are all early stage CPG companies who just raised a round of funding in the last 6 months. We can do companies currently running paid ads. We know that they're in growth mode. We know they're spending on ads, and so there's likely opportunity to improve on the work that they're doing. And then lastly, another one we could do is companies with open roles in sales and or marketing. Easy. I would set up individual campaigns for each of these, as they're all campaigns that can be updated on a consistent basis, and you want to test and see what's performing best. Which signal is giving me the most signal. So I'd set those up separately, but just to keep this simple, we'll start with one, and we'll look at companies who just raised a round of funding in the last 6 months. I like this one because it's a great signal. These companies just got flushed with cash, but we can also work it into our messaging, and I've done this. I do it every day, and it works incredibly well to just subtly mention this in your copy. So that's it on the campaign strategy. So we know we want to hit founders, CEOs, owners, and CMOs. And industry, we want to focus on early stage CPG brands. So industry, titles, companies to target, and kind of the strategy that we're going to build around here. Now that we know what we're doing here, we actually want to go build the list. So we'll go into list building. The way we're going to do this, we're going to build a pretty simple list here just for purposes of explanation. And we'll use Apollo.io to do so. Apollo is a huge database with tons of companies and a lot of different filters that we can use to find some really strong intent here. So just looking from top to bottom, we will turn email status on. I usually turn this off, and that just means these people that we find might not have emails, but we have tools outside of Apollo to go find those emails. So I like to just get the biggest funnel possible and then see and get more emails off Apollo. But for purposes here, we'll keep that on. Job titles, as we talked about, we want to do CEO, founder, CMO, and we'll keep it there just to see. Typically I'd add owner, but that's something you need to watch out for. You might get product owner, data owner, a lot of things that you might really not want. So just to keep it simple for example purposes, we will leave it at this level. Moving down, location. A lot of times we're comfortable anywhere in North America. We'll focus on the US specifically for this campaign. Industry, this is where it gets tricky because you can filter for a lot of different things, but not get the company you want. The data gets messy when you start to look at industry. So this one requires a lot of manual work, or if you have a Clay subscription, you can do a lot of enrichment in there. But essentially, some industries we'll want to look at are like consumer goods. We'll look at retail. Food and beverages is probably a good one as well. Food and beverages. And then I think that's probably a decent place to start. We can expand if needed. One thing we absolutely want to do is add some exclusions on here. So we would want to exclude some that I exclude on just any campaign are words like marketing, advertising, staffing, and consulting, as well as recruiting, because there will be consultants, staffing firms, and agencies that fall into these industries just because that's what they've built their SEO around. And so that's how Apollo reads them, and that's how they get thrown in here. Once we dive into this data a little bit more, we'll see some more companies that we want to phase out. But first, let's find one filter that will do, or one signal or filter that will one filter that'll clear up a lot of this is filtering for companies that have raised, right? So we want to look here at, there's this funding filter on Apollo. Most of the companies that get funded in these industries are going to be CPG brands, right? There's not a lot of consultants, staffers, or whatever raising money. And so we're going to pull these companies that have raised recently. There we go. Okay. Reason why I'm excluding some of these is because they're tiny, and I think you can only pull 10. There's ways to increase this. Right now we have 1.7 thousand. There's ways to get this higher. You see June Shine in here, True Made Foods, Fly by Jing, Future Motion. But just for purposes of example, we are going to, we're going to keep this as is because 1.7K is plenty to start with and see if there's actual signal here. All right, now that we have the list, we don't want to pay for an Apollo subscription. Apollo is expensive and they only allow you to export a certain amount every month and it's small. So what we do is we use this tool called Export Apollo, and essentially it allows you to take this URL from your Apollo link, and dump it into Export Apollo. You call it whatever you want, early stage CPG, and company name cleaning, extra data. And essentially this will scrape the Apollo list that you just built and provide it to you for much cheaper than what you would get it for from Apollo. There are even cheaper ways to do it rather than using an Export Apollo. I can't share those here, but this is a great way. You can come in here and buy scraping credits. So you can get 10,000 leads for $50. Way cheaper than what you would pay for by paying for Apollo. And so highly recommend this tool. They will send you an email when your list is finished. Then the last step you want to take is to verify these emails. So what you want to do is use a tool like Million Verifier, load that list into Million Verifier, and make sure these emails are all clean and valid. The reason why you want to do this, and the reason why it's so important that you don't skip this step, is if you skip the reason why this is so important and why you want to do this and don't skip this step is because if you send emails without verifying the emails first, you will have 20-25% bounce rates, and your inboxes that you bought to run cold emails out of will get burned immediately. You'll land in spam for every email from now to eternity. So clean your emails. It's super cheap, super easy, easy peasy. All right, so build the list, scrape the list, clean the list. Once you have this, export it into a Google Sheet, review the data, make sure it's solid, clean the company names if you want. Again, if you have Clay, you can use this. What we would do is dump this. We would run this entire process through Clay, which cleans the emails and then enriches things cleans like the company names and all that fun stuff. But for purposes of explanation, I would just put this in a Google Sheet, get familiar with the data, and clean it yourself. It's only 1.5 thousand leads. It'll probably be 1,000 by the time it's cleaned. So you have your list. Now we need to write the copy. List building. I realize I didn't write anything here. I will fill this section out based on the filters that we used. In fact, I will just include the Apollo link. That is easy enough. You guys can take that and run with it. And then we'll use scrape with exportapollo.com, clean with millionverifier.com. All right, next up, we know our strategy, we know our list. Now we need to write our sequences. This is from running a ton of campaigns, this is a pretty templated process within our business. And so we have a good idea of what works. We've worked with a lot of consulting firms, so we kind of know the copy that generates responses and generates leads. And so we'll follow a pretty similar format here. We like to lean on social proof, case studies, and really strong offers. So we helped XYZ brand do XYZ, would love to do the same for you. Worth a quick chat. So first one I always like to do is just like a direct pitch. Let me make sure you can see my screen okay. I think I'm in the way. Cool. First one we like to do is just a direct pitch. So what this would look like is something like, hey, first name. We recently helped CPG brands. So this is where you'll talk about your case study, increase their D2C sales by 3x in the last 6 months using a mix of paid and organic strategies. So we want to talk about what the outcome that we achieved and how we did it as quickly as possible. Would love to see if we can build a plan that accomplishes a similar result for you. Open to a quick chat. At the very least, always good to have another connection in the industry. Best, Andrew Garner, AG Consulting Company. Pretty solid, straight to the point, easy, simple, love it. What we'll do is we'll write about 4 variants on the copy, testing different angles, testing different case studies, testing different offers. We don't want to be too niche because we don't know. This CPG company might need help with their paid ad strategy. They might need help with distribution. So we really like to try to take a broad approach, but use that case study or that social proof to really hone in on, we've been here, we've done this, we know what we're talking about. Next, I would probably do a sort of an intro style. And people don't like this, but when you're a solo founder consulting business, like this actually works really well. I'm Andrew, the founder of AG Consulting Company. In early state, I would say we work with early stage CPG brands to solve the biggest problems they're facing in their business. We recently worked with CPG brand to land them in retailer and drive velocity and drive sales through trade marketing and sales partnerships. I welcome the opportunity to connect and learn more about your work at company name. At the very least, we can swap insights on what we're seeing in the industry. I love saying something like this at the end because it's just very personable. It comes off nice, human, as opposed to all these other emails that are trying to sell you initially. Open to a quick chat. So I like this kind of style a lot. I've seen it work. So something like that. Again, having a case study in here, personable intro, and a very smooth, drawn-out CTA style. Let's write another one. What's another angle we can take? Shorter than short. So this is one that's incredibly short, straight to the point. Founders are busy. they don't have a ton of time. I would say hey, first name, if I told you if we can increase your sales by 10% while lowering your CAC, would that be worth a quick chat? Let me know either way. P.S. We recently did this for a CPG company, for a competing CPG company, and we recently achieved this for a CPG company in the, what's an interesting space? We'll say in the tangential industry. If you have something in the same industry, even better. So we recently achieved this for a CPG company. You could say a competing CPG company or a CPG company in your industry. And feel confident. I would leave it at that. I think that's great. That's a short email. People love this. It's a pattern interrupt. It's real. Promise you that works. Test it out. One more. Let's try something new. I actually haven't tested this email, believe it or not, but this is one we recently mocked up, and I'm actually really excited to test it out. So I'd start with something. Hey, first name, last year we helped CPG brand land in retailer. They launched in, so we're telling a story here. We want to do it in kind of like a LinkedIn style writing, number, stores. A few months later, they were at X revenue. Now they're expanding into, and then include the new channels. So you want to tell a story here. Last year we helped them. Now they're in X. A few months later, they're here. Now they're Y. Talk about how we got there. The biggest unlock was strategy. Lay out what you did for them, what you guys realized, and how you helped them. I'd love to see if there is an opportunity to help solve some of the biggest challenges you're facing at company name. Open to a quick chat. And you can use the same sort of, at the very least, it's great to meet another entrepreneur. This one's just getting a little bit long, but I actually really like this email. So I'd test that out. All right. So we have our copy. The last thing is I would make this a 3-step sequence. So you want to have follow-ups. Follow up 3 days later, then 5 days later. Your follow-up number 2 can just be something like, hey, first name, just wanted to see if priority from first email, or just any, sorry, I know I'm hiding this, my bad. If priority from first email is something company name is thinking about right now. If you're working through it, happy to share a few things we've seen work. let me know either way. The let me know either way is important. I wouldn't leave it out because it's like telling either way, yes or no, just let me know and I'll buzz off essentially. But again, it's just a super personable touch. And then if you don't hear from them after 2 emails, I mean, people are busy, but you want to have some sort of breakup style email. You can even extend this to a 4th, but I generally don't like to go more than 3. So you'd say something like, "No, you're busy right now. Would love to know you're busy right now. So I'd say something like, "No, you're probably super busy since the fundraise, and I want to respect your time and inbox. Please feel free to respond with one of the following, and I'll proceed accordingly." We'll go 1. This is a priority for me. Let's chat. 2. This is a priority, but not right now. Check back in a couple months. 3rd would be, this isn't a priority. Thank you. First name, Andrew. Last thing, one thing I forgot to include in these emails is including a subtle mention of the fundraise. So P.S. Saw you raised a bit ago. Congrats. Something I maybe work it in a little bit better than that, but saw you raised a round recently. Great work to you and the team. Something like that. You could even work this into its own email. I think this is a great template, but it's a little bit overused. Is hi, first name, wanted to congratulate you on the recent raise. I've worked with a lot of other title at this stage to drive transformational growth and get you to that next level. We recently helped company name achieve results after their fundraising round. And then I would just steal one of these. I'd love to see this one. All right, so another template. Look at that. That's awesome. Open to a quick chat. I'd welcome the opportunity. So reading this from the top. Hi, first name, wanted to congratulate you on the recent raise. I've worked with a lot of other title at this stage to drive transformational growth and get you to that next level. We recently helped company name achieve result after their fundraising round. I'd welcome the opportunity to connect and learn more about your work at company name. At the very least, we can swap insights on what we're seeing in the industry. Open to a quick chat. All right, so we have everything we need. We have the campaign strategy, we have the company, we have the list, we know who we're reaching out to, and we have the copywriting that's going to perform. Now, you just need to put this all together. I'd throw this into a software like Smartlead. Instantly is another good one. And start firing some emails, see what the responses look like. There's a little bit more to it, but if you're actually interested in pursuing this further, definitely reach out to me and we can chat about this. I help companies do this all day long, so would love to meet you and figure out how I can help you grow your business, or even just give you the tools and stuff that you need if this is something, if budget is tight or if you want to run this yourself. No sweat off my back. I love doing this stuff, so just wanted to share this with people and get some feedback. Cheers. Have a great day.